Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarita. I have a short candle review for you today from Bath & Body Works. And this one is starting to be a little bit unseasonal because it is fall-ish. And the candle in question is White Pumpkin. And this came out in a couple different formats this year. I think one was kind of a core collection vibe, and it was white, which was apropos for the White Pumpkin. This one came out in that kind of weird line that had the wood grain. The wood grain actually I thought was really cool. And then it had various different other like flanking candles that were in these like kaleidoscope shapes. And I just think they look kind of weird, but that's fine. It's neither here nor there. White Pumpkin is one of the candles that I have actually never burned before or perhaps even bought, although I've been vaguely aware of it for like years and years. So White Pumpkin, I believe, is Bath & Body Works' most chai-like candle. Usually when companies give you a White Pumpkin note, it's trying to communicate that it is a pumpkin or a pumpkin spice that is softer or more diluted or whatever else it is. A little bit more quote unquote mild. That is not the case for this particular candle. So the notes on White Pumpkin are gingered white pumpkin, caramel glaze, warm blended spices. So caramel, pumpkin, White Pumpkin, and they've singled out ginger there with warm blended spices. And yes, there is a great deal more ginger in this than would usually be in a pumpkin spice, but it is a strong pumpkin spice. And it is a spicy candle. I wouldn't say it's biting. I don't think it's biting, but it's not cushy and creamy in the way that a lot of Bath & Body Works candles are, and especially some of their pumpkin ones are. Like I said, I think this is as close as they come to like a chai spice. I can't say that I'm necessarily picking up like a cardamom or an anise. A cardamom and or anise would really take it to that truly authentic chai place. Sidebar, there aren't that many candle companies that do a really great chai candle. There are a lot of companies that invoke the name of chai, but very few that actually nail those authentic like Indian chai spices. I think that's probably a little bit of a misstep. This is as close as Bath & Body Works comes to it. And I do think that it comes closer than many other candle companies do. I'm looking at you, Kringle. You are very guilty of this. Yeah, it's a nice spice. I do think it's high on the ginger and high on the cinnamon. So actually it is similar to Cozy Sunday Night, which came out this year and was a Best Candle nominee. And if you remember, the original name for Cozy Sunday Night was, I think, Cinnamon and Ginger. I think that was the name of the candle. And this one has a strong cinnamon ginger kind of note to it, and it is very similar to the note that you get in Cozy Sunday Night. But Cozy Sunday Night goes in a much more warm direction across the board. So while it has that kind of chai-ish ginger and cinnamon spice kind of vibe, it also has a very strong graham component, like a toasted graham cracker note. And it also has a cedar note. So all of those notes combined lend it like a very authentically warm fragrance. This one is actually more cool than warm. So it has the spices and there is some amount of warmth. They even call it warming spices, right? There is an amount of warmth in those spices, but I actually think there's a little bit of an ozone quality to this particular candle. It's a fresh ozone quality behind it, similar to what you would get in like pumpkin carving, for instance. Yeah. It just has less of the overt like squash component, or gourd component in the way that like pumpkin carving has it. So in lieu of that, like very strong, fresh pumpkin seeds, pumpkin gourd kind of feel, it substitutes spices in for it. But then behind it, you've got this like fresh ozone-y kind of quality, which makes it a little bit outdoorsy, even though it's not an overtly outdoorsy candle. It's actually a fairly nice fragrance. I don't know that there's enough heft to it. I don't know that there's enough complexity. It's almost as if this candle isn't quite committing. And I'm not really sure why, because it's, like I said, it's a really beautiful like scent combination. And the ozone is totally fine behind it as well. It just kind of seems as though it's hitting a specific like note and range, and it's missing some amount of depth. And I think that Cozy Sunday Night communicates the depth a little bit better with the toasted graham down below, and especially that cedar wood dimension. It just grounds it in a way that I'm not sure that this one is completely grounded, but it's nice. I, by the way, burned this all the way down to the whip clips. It did not burn evenly. Do you see that wax up there? That is craziness. Let me tell you something. I would say for most of the candle, that was far more pronounced. Like I would say that it was like 3 times that size. Then when I burned it down low here before it like extinguished itself, the candle gets very hot at that point, like the glass does, because you're way down there on the wick clips, and there's nowhere for the heat to go anymore, and so it just goes up through the glass. And when it did that, like most of that iceberg like melted down into it. But as you can see, not all of it. It was a very uneven burn. But this is the way these Bath & Body Works have been burning. When I say it's an uneven burn, that's what I mean. I mean that like usually when you burn a Bath & Body Works candle, you light it up and within like a half an hour, it's pulled all the way to the edges. These ones for this season, and not all of them, but many of them have not been doing that. You can burn it for 2 hours and it still hasn't completely gone to the edges. It's like craziness. I don't know what to say. And I burn them for pretty long hours. And you can burn this for a lot of long hours because look at that. Really no sooting to speak of. Look at the color of that wax. Like hardly any discoloration. So that's the positive here. And I have found that generally the candles that are burning the most unevenly are the ones that are not like super high sooty. And I don't know if there's a correlation there. The ones that are like super high sooty, I can't go any further. Like those tend to burn more evenly. They burn hot. Sometimes they do get puny wicks, but they don't do this like crazy, like not burning to the edges thing. So I don't know if it's a wick issue. I don't know if it's a wax formula issue. For me personally though, I gotta be honest, pick your poison, right? If you were to say, what would you prefer, high soot, or would you prefer an uneven burn? I'm gonna go for uneven burn. Because you know what? If there's no soot, you can really kind of burn that thing for a while. And you're gonna need to when it's doing that, if you know what I mean. So I can't say that it was an even burn, but it was a very clean burn. So I'm very happy about that. And I burned it for hours and hours and hours trying to get that thing to go away. The biggest detraction from this candle is that the strength and throw on this was like a 4. A 4, a 4, a 4. Yeah, I don't think it got any better than that. I mean, and this lived most of its existence in my guest bathroom, which is the candle lab for problematic candles. And this, I could tell within one burn. I'm like, this strength and throw is absurd. I can hardly smell it. So it lived almost its entire existence in the guest bathroom with the bathroom door shut. And even with the bathroom door shut, I think it was a 4. If I opened the bathroom door, that concentration of scent dropped down to like a 3. So this candle for me was almost unscented. It wasn't entirely unscented. And shut up several hours in the bathroom, I could get it up to a strong 4, maybe even a 4.5, and in a very tiny space for long, long hours. That is not going to be enough for people. It's just not. And when you already have a fragrance that's kind of firing at one range and not giving you a ton of other ranges, you really need for it to be a high strength and throw, a high volume in whatever range it's giving you. And this one just doesn't do that. So I don't know if this is just the way that this one idiosyncratically is performing this season. So let me know, because I know there are people out there who really like White Pumpkin. Is this the way it usually performs? As nice as the fragrance is, I just don't know that it is nice enough to compensate for that kind of a performance, though. I kind of think not. Especially given that there are other candles with good spice and scent profiles. Yes, this is one of the nicer chai-ish kind of ones, but it's not like there aren't other options. And I just think this one has to perform better, especially for it to be burned during the fall and autumn season, and to earn a place in that lineup. So I'm not terribly pleased by White Pumpkin, and I would be unlikely to purchase it again. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's unlikely. If many of you guys are like, oh my gosh, it usually performs so much better, then I might possibly give it a chance at another time, especially if the packaging was stunning. But generally speaking, it's kind of a no for me. It's a little like some of those Homeworks candles where it's like, that was pleasant, but really kind of like not worth, it's kind of a one and done. It needs something a little bit more special for you to think about purchasing it again. That's what I've got for you, White Pumpkin. It is probably not available right now, but who knows, you may see it at a semi-annual sale. I will see you guys in the next one.